Hi everyone, this is Norman Kochnak here. Haven't been that well the last few days, so if you look at my eyes, are a bit sore, but I'm fine otherwise. I've just been gathering what's going on in the world of cricket, in particular the situation with clearly Australia, with the all the machinations of the discussion with the likes of Cameron Bancroft, then the Australian bowlers, the four of them, that is Hazelwood, Stark, and the likes of Lyons, or Lyon itself, and Cummins. All four of them have made a comment as well as to the situation with the so-called sandpaper gate. It's quite disturbing to think that we have a situation where almost getting close to 3 years since the incident happened in South Africa that we're still talking about, and it's just embarrassing that the topic keeps coming up, but it's just comical. I think Jeff Lemon, who often writes for The Guardian, has his own YouTube channel with Alan Collins, has talked about it quite a bit in the press about the whole situation. It's quite it's very disturbing the way that it's transpired. I'm waiting actually for Alan Mullally to join me today. The fact is, Himanshu Chaudhary saying, "Don't worry, Norman. I bet nothing will happen and all will play." You're probably right, but I just think it's a public relations disaster that we're still talking about it now. Cameron Bancroft alluded to the fact the bowlers must have known. Well, let's just stick to one thing. He had the sandpaper in his hands. He tried to damage the ball. So I don't know why we're talking about anything other than the fact that he clearly did it. Whether he was put up to it or not, it doesn't matter. If he's stupid enough to do it, then I don't even know why we're talking about it. Clearly, Dave Warner was involved. Steve Smith was aware of it. Those three were punished. Dave Warner will never be captain again. He probably should never have captained Sunrisers Hyderabad after the performances he had there. This IPL, he's been graced with the fact that the IPL was postponed, and we didn't discuss the issue any further at the moment with him. Cameron Bancroft was banned, but he was also, his form's been very ordinary, extremely ordinary. He doesn't even deserve to be back in the side anymore. Then you look at the situation with the four bowlers. They may or may not have noticed the ball being different. That's fine, but they didn't perpetrate that. They just simply delivered the ball. Whether they knew or not, what were they to do? Well, they couldn't do much. They were following instructions of their so-called captain, Steve Smith, and in turn Dave Warner in his role as a leadership person. Ray's asked me who was joining Norman. Well, I'm afraid that it's one of those situations. Well, I'm supposed to have Alan Mullally's supposed to be coming on. He's promised to come on. Chris, that was a few days ago. It's one of those situations where I don't think that we need to worry about anything more at this point. Our main focus should be on the World Test Championship in a month's time. It's exactly a month today. Today is May 18th. The World Test Championship is June 18th. New Zealand's already there, of course. They're practicing and are ready to go. Excuse me. The fact is that New Zealand is ready to go. New Zealand will, in fact, be playing England in 2 test matches leading into the World Test Championship. They'll have a great workout, you would imagine. Siddharth coming out. Siddharth's actually busy with meetings. He said he would try to come. Siddharth is also trying to be with, but he's actually busy with meetings. So Pops are playing mind games before the Ashes as they can't win against a full strength Australian side. I don't know about that. I mean, the Australian side, full strength, will certainly fare well on Australia, but the England side, full strength, will do very well too. Rory Burns and Sibley, if fit, and obviously the likes of Zach Crawley, they're pretty damn good players. Joe Root is a fantastic player and will perform well in Australia. Ben Stokes, Ben Folkes, Chris Wokes, the Wokes, Folkes, and Stokes threesome. In turn, you've got an incredible bowling lineup with Anderson and Broad. You got Wood, Ollie Stone, Ollie Pope as well, and then you got Jofra Archer, who has actually had a setback again just recently. So that cricket guy, hi, Norman, can I join in? Get ready. I'll probably try to get you on. Just let me resend me your email address. I haven't got it in front of me, so I'll have to get that. So Ray PMB9, I'm not sure what that means. Talk about the England week top 3 batting lineup. Well, look, they're not that weak. I mean, Zach Crawley, he will love Australian. He will absolutely adore Australian conditions. He hits the ball beautifully onto the bat, and he will excel there. Sibley and Burns is not bad. Roy Burns is not nothing to be sneezed at. Sibley's a bit iffy, but they're both, all 3 of them are not bad at all. I think we're underrating them quite severely. Now, and you're using the word Himanshu Chaudhary is saying that we are fearful. That the word fearful and fearful of and related to Australia is quite frankly gone. I don't think you can say that anymore. India's crashed that thought. I would argue New Zealand probably has, well, at least New Zealand has outside of Australia. New Zealand hasn't gone to this in Australia for a while, but England will be up against the conditions, granted, but they'll come out early enough. Australia will have no preparation. They're playing against Afghanistan in Hobart before. That's the only test match they've had since last year's series against India, or January against India, which is going to be monumentally, 10 plus months since they played a test match. I know they're going to the West Indies for ODI T20 series. They play a bit of IPL, some of the players. Let's hope the World Cup takes place. The World Cup's no guarantee either, especially not in India. You won't find anything happening in India for the rest of the year by the looks of things. IPL's not going to happen. The World Test Championships in England. India are playing England in England, and quite frankly, that's again giving them plenty of Test match cricket. Look at England. They're playing against India twice this year, as well as New Zealand. Lots of Test practice. Okay, Deepak Patel's asking whether it's an ICC or an England. Well, it's an England pitch. So, in all fairness, they will still maintain their pitch under ICC guidelines, as they are always under those guidelines. Why did New Zealand never win in Australia? They beat everyone but stumble in front of Aussies. Is it a mindset change? They probably have got a mindset problem there. Yes, I would agree with that. Whereas Chris, he has to work. It's England's time. It's work time. He has an important job. As you know, he's played cricket this weekend. I think he scored a century recently, which I made point of. So it's funny how you guys ask where Chris is, where everyone is. If they're not here, they're not here. They can't be here every single time we're on broadcast. Not many channels have everybody available every time. So I'm happy to do the show here today. Talking about New Zealand winning only at home. Yeah, I've been talking about that, Ray. New Zealand, obviously they're strong at home. So is Australia at home generally, except against India. England are strong at home as well. But the conditions being neutral for both New Zealand and India will make this World Test Championship a very, very important match. India has every chance of beating England in the Test series in England. Of course they do. But the problem that India has, a major problem, is that they have top-order batsmen such as Shubman Gill, Rohit Sharma, even the likes of Kohli and Rahane, that do play at balls outside of something, have a habit of following and playing the ball, because they usually do pretty well against them. But in England, with the moving ball, they're going to find they'll be good enough to get the edge off the moving ball. So they have to consciously let go of the ball. Pujara is one of the best exponents of letting the ball go, but Pujara certainly is a player that lets the ball go. Even if the ball's moving, he lets the ball go. Whereas Rohit Sharma, Gill, Rahane, and Kohli follow the ball and nick. Remember that famous 36 runs and the total against Australia in Adelaide? If you look at the dismissals closely, most of the players outside of someone, Hazelwood and the likes of Cummins, Stark, Bold, a good off stump length. They basically, or line, I should say. They all nicked the ball, and it was incredible because all the England, all the Indian batsmen nicked the ball, and they all succeeded in nicking the ball and got out for a total of 36. So that was the issue there. It was certainly a nicking wicket. The ball moved away just slightly, India followed the ball and nicked it. I think the best practice the Indian batsmen can have for their England tour, including the World Test Championship, is to learn to let the ball go on or outside off stump, because the ball will inevitably move and swing away in most cases, and they can let it go. Got to be conscious of the ball coming in. I think probably Southey, Bolt to an extent, even Wagner are pretty good at exposing the ball to come into the bat. So they have to be wary of that delivery, but play a straight line. So in other words, they're going to be covering that ball and don't follow the ball and edge it. There's a distinct amount of practice that needs to be given to letting balls go and knowing when to play the ball. And then if they do that and they make the bowler bowl to them or make the ball come to them, then they can play accordingly and will have a lot more onside shots, but they'll have a very successful innings and bat long. That's the key. And pay. That's one thing, is to let the ball go outside, stop, make the bowler come to them, bowl to them. And secondly, it's to play the shots much later. So the movement and the swing and the adjustment is there to play a ball as it comes under the eye and later. And having given coaching lessons for batsmen, that's the general rule in most performances anywhere in the world, especially with a swinging ball or a cutting ball. But in particular with England, you play the ball later, and you also make sure that the ball is under your eyes. And if the ball's on or off outside of stump, you let the ball go completely and don't play to the edge of the bat, because that's when you nick. And I'm afraid, as I said, Kohli, Rahane, Gill, and Sharma are too good a set of batters and will get the edge if they don't watch it. Even if you watch Kane Williamson bat, he's very good at playing the ball later and letting the ball go. Ross Taylor, for example, is a known nicker. He tends to play the ball, when it's a line there. And you don't follow the ball, you actually have to let it go. Or you play a decisive shot like a pull or a cut. Obviously not a pull, but more so a cut. Is Kohli better than Williamson? Kohli's better. You would have to argue Kohli is a better batsman than Williamson. Not by a great deal, but he certainly is. In England conditions, there's going to be a leveler for both those batters, and they'll both be on the same keel. Both have to be wary of letting the ball go. Williamson's a very good exponent of letting the ball go, like Pujara is. So Pawan Kumar says, why don't we select Alex Carey as a test player and replace Tim Payne? Well, I don't think it's a matter of Tim Payne then to be replaced for his keeping. Maybe he's batting to an extent, but it's his captaincy that's the issue. And that's where we have to work out whether we want to get another player in the squad in terms of captaincy now. The question is about Steve Smith pledging, and I'll use the word pledging carefully. He pledges to be the next captain. Now, he's not in a position to do that. Then you now heard that Tim Payne has come out and actually endorsed Smith as the next captain. But that's on the basis of after the Ashes series. So that's interesting. So Tim Payne has full intention of captaining the Ashes series, and perhaps he believes going out a winner as a captain and then passing on to Steve Smith. We'll see what happens there, but that may well be what transpires. It won't be Pat Cummins. It won't be Labuschagne. I'll tell you, they're not going to be captain. So it probably will be Steve Smith. at this point. I actually said earlier on that it should be Aaron Finch, who's the one-day T20 captain. He has the respect to the dressing room, and can certainly captain. Now, his batting, you might argue, he's not up to speed, but if Bukowski's not batting at this stage, we don't know what he's doing. We assume he will. Then it's likely that Bukowski will be there. But if he's not, Aaron Finch could well be in there, and then there is captain. Just be wary of that. Alice Carey's a better batsman than Tim Paine. Well, you would argue he certainly is in the short format. Alex Carey is a much better batsman in the shortened format, T20 ODIs. But as Test cricket, well, you can't say that at this point. Tim Paine has performed quite well. I think we shouldn't take away from Tim Paine's batting. He hasn't been bad at all. Is it fair that New Zealand get adequate time to practice at India short? Well, the reality is that Test series was organised for New Zealand to play before England. So that wasn't related to the World Test Championship. That was an organised series that was to take place. Yes, it is their luck that they're playing the World Test Series. Follow. How is my health? My health's fine. I'm just a bit under the weather. I've had a bit of it's cold. It's cold in Australia. It's bloody freezing. And I've got a typical cold. Australia's done exceptionally well when it comes to COVID. We've been blessed. I have a friend of mine in Sri Lanka. Her mother is just been noted that she's got COVID. I know in India it's horribly widespread. It's something that I'm very sad to hear, and I'm happy for us to be able to do this show at all. And I'm very glad that you can actually join me. Is Langer a negative influence as coach? I would argue that Justin Langer is part of the problem. His coaching is very rigorous, intense, and it hasn't sat well with some of the Australian players, I must be honest. He looks too intense and they haven't been winning. So he's been trying, he tries extra hard now that they're losing, and he's actually trying well beyond the level of hard. Now, there's a quote here about, I'm just saying here, how will Steve Will be as coach of Australia? I think he'd be a fantastic coach. He's very level-headed. He's very experienced. He knows how to win in a fight. So does Justin Langer, by the way. Justin Langer's been a great player for Australia and has been able to fight. He hasn't been captain of Australia, though, which is an interesting point, whereas clearly Steve Waugh has and did a fantastic job. So, yes, Steve Waugh probably would be a better selection. But they're looking at a whole host of other players. I would like to see someone like Trevor Bayliss get a go. I think Trevor Bayliss coached brilliantly for England, has done well overseas. He should be made Australian captain. Coach, I should say. Do I think trophy sharing is not a good? Yeah, I'm a firm, but I don't have much enjoyment out of hearing that they're going to share the trophy between England and New Zealand if they draw the match. That's disgusting. That's not a result. It should be some way of judging best. If India is higher in the rankings in New Zealand and the game goes to a draw, well, the one who has the higher ranking should be there because they've got the higher rankings for a reason, because over the period of time, whether it's 4 years, 2 years, whatever it is, they've been the best test team. So in the end, a bit like an FA Cup, or not FA Cup, like a Premier League thing, the first past the post gets the trophy. So in this case, we are playing a final, which will decide the trophy. But if it's a draw, it should go to the team who are ranked on top, which I believe is India. So that would be the case. I think it is India. I'm pretty sure it's India. Who is my favourite New Zealand cricketer of all time? Mine is Shane Bond. I believe that you can't go past Richard Hadley. So Richard Hadley was up there with Lilly and a whole range of bowlers as being the best. He would argue he's also an all-rounder of sorts. He certainly batted very well. He's certainly the best bowler that New Zealand produced. Martin Crowe would be one of the best batsmen, if not the best batsman, and he probably deserves the title as well. It's one of the best players ever in New Zealand. I would argue they're more like Now, my belief is who will win the New Zealand England series well. New Zealand England series, 2 test matches. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens between those two. You would think England would probably be a slight favourite there. But New Zealand should do well, and they're preparing themselves for the West World Test Championship. So they'll be more interested in that. So, any news about IPL? Is there any news about the IPL 2021? Look, the reality is the IPL 2021 will move from being postponed to cancelled. Or there's no. Why would they continue to try and play? They will not be played. The IPL will not be played in India. That's almost 100% certain. The postponement will lead to it being played elsewhere, if at all. The UAE is the favourite, but even England's been mentioned. Realistically, when are they going to play this? India are off to England now to play the World Test Championship and follow that by the so-called Test series there and a series of games. Most other countries are off doing something somewhere else. After that, the World Cup, which will probably be played outside of India, is due to happen next. Really, when they've got the window to play 31 games, including the finals, is very unlikely. And then after that, I can't imagine it either. In this year I'm talking about, they're probably going to have to completely postpone, yes, but then cancel this year's tournament, which is sad, but it's not the end of the world. And then commence it again next year. Hopefully things will be better. Yeah, well, Martin Crowe, if Martin Crowe says he's the best player, that he's the most difficult player to bowl to, but that says everything. I will go and see where Alan Mullally is. He's meant to be here. I'll just see where Alan Mullally is. So, while we're talking about that, though, as far as the World Test Championship is concerned, it's going to be a magnificent match. I'm looking forward to it greatly. Okay. Alan Mullally's saying he's just broken his glasses. I'll just see what the story is. For those you can't see. King Kohli will win. Yes, well, you expect King Kohli to. Virat Kohli's due for a score, actually. Now, I'm ringing Alan Mullally, as you can see.
Yo.
Are you able to join?
I'm in bed.
Come on. Oh, you got the link? I'm on now.
Oh, send me the link on by
Okay.
Facebook.
So Alan's let's just see what the story is. Alan is there. He's just spoken to it. Let me just get the link up. Invite a guest. So it's really quite a simple process. It's just a matter of it's a matter of just getting the link sent to a person. And Alan Mullally was actually trying to get a hold of Cameron Bancroft himself. Alan Mullally, of course, is in Perth, in Western Australia, and that's where Cameron Bancroft is. So, Shreya Gayatri, hello, Shreya Gayatri. Get well soon. I want sure chat with you. Yeah, you can chat with me anytime. That was another point that I needed to bring up. So we're not only are we talking about the World Test Championship, and of course the situation with the Cameron Bancroft affair and the so-called other players. Looks like Christopher Woods has named his England side to play New Zealand actually just now as well. That's one thing that's just happened. I'll go through that within a minute. But it's also, before we get to that, the other big burning discussion that's around the moment is AB de Villiers, the South African AB de Villiers, who was rumoured to be coming back into the fold for South Africa to play the World Cup and perhaps even test matches, who knows. But that's been squashed. It looks like the South Africa the cricket board there in South Africa have actually made it pretty clear that that's not going to happen. He's not going to come out of retirement, and that would confirm that AB de Villiers is also silent on that. So AB de Villiers will not be coming back. No Chris Morris, no Faf du Plessis, no Tahir, no. They're in a bit of a mess. You know? Hello, Lakshmi Sharma. How are you? Did you see Lakshmi? Did you see that Chris Verner got a century and it's all over? By the way, when you go to my YouTube channel, guys, there are tabs across the top. If you go across, there's a community tab, and you click on that, and you have regular news updates happening all the time. Okay. So Bumrah, Ishant Sharma, Shami, but I want Siraj in the playing 11. Well, I think you've got a good chance of that happening. Okay. So yeah, the AB de Villiers situation is certainly one that we need to be wary of. AB de Villiers will not be playing in the World Cup. He'll be not playing any form of Test cricket, and his IPL days, well, that's certainly there. He certainly has figured quite strongly for the Royal Challengers Bangalore. I will continue to play for them, so that'll be certainly good. Do I think that Ravi Ashram will be key player in the World Test against New Zealand? Very good chance he won't be playing. Very, very good chance he won't be playing. The word is that Jadeja will be in with the likes of Bumrah, Ishant Sharma, Shami, and potentially Siraj. Certainly would be the preference, with one spinner, not two, which would mean Jadeja at this point, because of his batting and fielding, would probably put him ahead of Ashwin in England, not other countries. And India will bat strongly from, obviously, again, we'll go back to that order in a minute, but Gill, of course, with Sharma, Pujara first drop, Kohli, Rahane, Punt. Now, whether in fact Vihari goes in there or not is the question. But that would be the only batting order change that I would see that will be a part of that. So if it's effectively Rohit Sharma, Gill, Pujara, Kohli, Rahane, that's 5, with potentially Vihari has to be considered. He's been there for the county season, so he could well be 6, and followed by Punt at 7. Then you've got Jadeja at 8, and then the 3 bowlers. That could well be what I would argue to be their lineup. So again, I'll say it one more time: Gill, Rahane, Gill, Sharma, Pujara, Kohli, Rahane. That's the top 5. With then Vihari at 6, and then you'll have the likes of Punt at 7, Jadeja at 8, then Bumrah, Shami, and Ishant Sharma as the 11. Life has got a bit too hard without IPL 20. Well, let's be honest. What's today's date? Today is the 19th of May. We would still be seeing another 10, 12 matches of the IPL if it was live now. We would have gone from 29 to 48. Another 20 matches or thereabouts would have been played. It is a pity, but, well, COVID dictates how far we go with that. Nothing else. Tanveer Sangha is certainly now in the New Zealand squad. Sorry, the Australian squad. He's a great little player for New South Wales. Certainly would be someone. Watch out for his performances. I'm still saying Jason Sangha, the upper order batsman who captained the under-19s. I'm still maintaining that at some stage we're going to see that man in the Australian side. Hopefully sooner rather than later. He's going to have a permanent New South Wales contract. from rookie to permanent at the age of 21. He will eventually make a mark. He's batting already up the order. Played in the final of the Sheffield Shield. Looked really, really good and played a very poor pull shot, but looked really good leading up to that. So watch out for him. What's my opinion of Rowett on the England tour? Rowett Sharma is dangerous no matter where he plays, but as I was saying earlier, he's got to learn to not nick the ball. And against good pace, where there is some good line length with movement, perhaps some seam, he is too good a batter and will get more edges than the average batter. So he needs to learn to let the ball go. Why did New Zealand play less tests than against England, India, and New Zealand? I never really understand that, because New Zealand obviously play at home, and they play when Australia and South Africa play at home, that is over the Christmas, New Year's period. New Zealand play their tests then, but they don't play a hell of a lot away. And they do play this. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. New Zealand should play more prominent cricket. I would agree. Tanvi saying he's a leggy, quick in the air, good googler. Yes, I agree with that. Do I feel that KL Rahul has lost his way in Test cricket? Do you see a future for him in that format? It's looking less and less likely, to be honest. He's a great player and was playing a lot of Test cricket, but yeah, his concentration has been a lot on the T20 ODI formats, and he's been even keeping, as we know, in the formats as well, over and above even punts in some cases. So it's an interesting development. He does seem to have lost his favour a bit, but he could well become. He's becoming, I think, even though Ridhwan Saha has actually had a negative COVID test and had a positive and a positive first and negative. I don't understand how you can be deemed to be positive in the first and negative in the second. That's a bit of a strange one. Anyway, Ridhwan Saha is still deemed to be the backup wicketkeeper to punts in Test cricket. Well, I think KL Rahul should be, actually, and I think Ridhwan Saha's Test days are limited, if not over, anyway. Okay. The mess in South African cricket is the quota system of blacks and whites in the team. Pure and simple. One of the issues is that the best players should be picked, not based on race or colour, but the best players should be picked. That's the first and foremost. That's been destabilising for the side. The South African Cricket Board, not unlike a lot of boards, financially have been a mess. They attempted to meddle in the team selections and get involved, and there's all sorts of issues there, and that has led to South Africa perhaps breaching their entitlement to be a Test cricket nation, and hence they could have been kicked out. There's been some court action to say that's not the case, but they've damaged cricket. I mean, Amla, Faf to see, even David de Villiers, some of the players, I think Andre Nellos, a few other bowlers have gone to England to play county cricket where they get paid better. Pay has been atrocious. Conditions have been atrocious. Their selections have been atrocious. The disillusionment of South African cricket. The Quinton de Kock was captain. Now he's no longer captain. They're putting in rather poor quality players in their place. Captaincy is a real issue. AB de Villiers gone, Amla gone, all too early. Then the other aspect, which is even more damaging, is the way that, again, the financial side of it is a mess. COVID hasn't helped. Graham Smith, as far as the administration is concerned, I'm not saying Graham Smith is bad. He's a great captain, a great leader of South Africa, but he can't do it all on his own. The other issue is women's cricket. Now, the women's cricket, would you believe, I think it was last season, they've played fantastically well, by the way. They've got a very good team with Shamden Ismail and a whole range of great players. The only problem is that South Africa, they paid their women's cricketers, I think, $3,000 a month, which was okay money, more than some of the other subcontinent countries. But then they paid them, I think it was $3,000. They paid them what they deemed to be $1,000 too much each month. So the next year they've dropped it back to $2,000, but they've actually taken it down to $1,000 because they wanted to recoup the $1,000 they paid. They believe they overpaid them. So they've gone from $3,000 to $1,000. That just can't survive like that. That's why they play a lot of international cricket. like BBLs and the IPL, sorry, well, at least the women's BBL, IPL is what they try to play now. Wagner is South African. I mean, there's a whole host of people that are South African. There's Devon Conway as well, and then South Africans in England. They're all over the joint. I don't want to say that it's particularly bad. South Africa need to get their bloody act together. They're stuffing it up. Their cricket board's a mess. Their allocation of a whole lot of things are a mess. Graham Smith is one redeeming factor, but otherwise they're in a total mess. Is everyone vaccinated? No, we're one of the worst nations in terms of numbers of vaccinated people. I mean, I'm not vaccinated. Well, sorry, I had the first vaccination, but not the second. It's a very poor turnout for vaccination, but we're extremely, you could argue, fortunate. We've had 2 cases in Sydney and New South Wales for months upon months. We had nobody get it here. We're walking around mask-free again. We had it mask on for a little while. It's back to mask-free now. On public transport, on most indoor activities, it's back to mask-free. Labuschagne is also South African. Yeah, that's true. England loves South Africa. Well, it seems like it. They get enough players. There are South Africans all over the world, in England, in Australia, in New Zealand. Why would you be in South Africa? Is the question. Alan, here we are.
Can you see me?
I can see you. What happened? Did you lose your glasses or something?
I sat on them and they're broken. I've got one here. They've got one arm left.
Don't put one on.
And there you go. I've got the other one. There you go.
So we've been talking about the World Test Championship. We've been when I say we, with the audience, we talked about the state of cricket in South Africa. Because AB de Villiers has come out and said that well, at least the cricket board also said that he's not playing for the World Cup. I've actually got here a thing about. Look at that. Can you read that?
Yep. Who is the greatest cricketer, I think, to have never won a trophy?
The greatest cricketer where?
To have never won a major trophy. Not a World Cup or a trophy.
You. No. Who?
AB de Villiers.
Yep. Okay. Absolutely. He seems to not be going
to. Norman, please bear with me. I'll get my soup. Right.
Okay. Just to let you know, I've been joined by Alan Mullally, former England cricketer, former England fast bowler, former incredible player in himself. He was one of the only bowlers, who was able to get the wicket of who was Alan Mullally's main wicket? He took most wickets against Adam Gilchrist.
Was Gilchrist?
How many Adam Gilchrist? How many times did you get Adam Gilchrist out?
Oh, I've forgotten. 6 out of 7. Mark Ward.
There you go.
Bradford said I was the hardest bowler to face in world cricket. I'd done him a keeper. He played for Scotland, Nick. Played for India, Nick. But great players, but more importantly, Norman,
he won the WA Sheffield Shield.
My thing with cricket is they're lovely people.
Oh, there's South African people just say lovely people.
Mm-hmm. That is, of
course,
brought by my neighbour called Jacinta, by the way. Chicken and leek soup, beautiful. There needs a bit more spice.
So, how far is Cameron Bancroft?
When your Indian friends, can you please ask them, what do I need to do to make the most fantastic lamb curry?
What curry?
Lamb. I'm into my cooking.
Lamb curry.
Oh yeah.
Mutton or lamb?
Lamb. No, mutton. Okay. No.
I mean, really, a mutton curry or a goat curry.
We're Sydney. We're going to go lamb.
Okay, everyone. Himanshu Chaudhry or Ray or Ashwani Rana, tell us your best lamb curry recipe. Graham Smith and Jack Cullis didn't win a trophy. Oh, well, most South Africans didn't win a trophy because what I have here, I have the if you look there, I have the England squad. Okay.
Hey, Norman.
What
I actually
what
spoke
what
to
time is what time is it?
No,
What time is it in England? It's 3 p.m.
5 in the afternoon.
What?
5 in the afternoon. I spoke to a lovely lady called Meda Lord from Lords, right? She'll be sending me Chris Silver's number and Darren Goff's number, and they're quite keen. I've heard word on the street as it is. They're quite keen to join us on here, and then we'll get our YouTube channel going on.
Yeah, we're also going to get a channel, guys, called Normally. Norman Kochnak or Norman and Alan Mullally. We're going to get a channel together. We're going to bring a lot of people on that channel as well. Stay tuned. That's not far away. Okay, I'm just going to read out
and
the.
I'm Norman skydiving in Perth.
I'm not skydiving bloody anywhere. What are you talking
you
about?
are. After you've been in the dressing room with the boys.
If I fall out of
skydiving.
If I fall out of the sky, you're going to need a hell of a big bloody parachute to hold me.
I've done bungee jumping.
I'm going to break every parachute, and I'll land before the parachute opens. I'll be that quick.
I can't believe I broke my glasses.
Okay, so is it after 3 p.m. today in England? Is it? Can you tell me that?
Yep, it's 5 in the afternoon.
Let me have a look. Yeah, okay. It's 3:20 p.m. Not twice. It's 3:20 p.m. in London, and that this particular team has been embargoed. It is now ready. So I can tell you the England men's test squad that'll be playing is New Zealand in the upcoming series prior to the World Test Championship. Joe Root is captain. James Anderson for Lancashire. James Bracey from Gloucestershire is a part of them too. Stuart Broad, Rory Burns, Zach Crawley, Ben Folkes, Dan Lawrence, Jack Leach, Craig Overton. He's a bowler, isn't he not? Craig Overton's a bowler. All right, Alan, I'm going to read out I'm reading out the squad. Hang on. So England men's test squad is Joe Root, James Anderson, James Bracey. You know about James Bracey?
Nope.
Well, he's from England. Stuart Broad, Rory Burns, Zach Crawley, Ben Folkes, Dan Lawrence, Jack Leach, Craig Overton, who's a bowler, isn't he?
Nope, never heard of him.
Ollie Pope, of course.
Yep.
Ollie Pope, then Ollie Robinson. I'm not sure who that is. Dom Sibley. Ollie Stone and Mark Wood. I'll repeat. We've got Joe Root, James Anderson, James Bracey, Stuart Broad, Rory Burns, Zach Crawley, Ben Folkes, Dan Lawrence, Jack Leach.
Further, Norman.
Huh?
Before you go one step further. Anderson? Nope. Broad? Nope. Wood? Yes. Jofra Archer? If I get 5 minutes with him to teach me how to bloody bowl.
Okay, let me just read. Hang on. Gloucester wicketkeeper. Okay, so with the James Bracey plays for Gloucester, and he's a wicketkeeper batsman. So he's obviously there in the squad because I don't see what's his name. I'm not saying. It's interesting because I'm not seeing a few of the England. Well, where is who are the stars of the Bairstow? Bairstow's not on the side.
And you know what? I really believe he should be. And that's why I phoned the boys this afternoon. I'm awaiting the phone number from a good mate of mine. Because when you get into that level, it all changes. Chris Silverwood, the coach. Spinners, I'll give you some advice. Bairstow, he plays square of the wicket to bounce the pace.
Actually, let me quickly read this. Let me just read this quickly. Let me read this. The multi-format players of Moeen Ali, Jonathan Bairstow, Joss Butler, Sam Curran, and Chris Wokes have all been rested.
For what?
For this test series between New Zealand.
But from being paid loads of money to play in the IPL and what? They've been arrested from what? What a pile of rubbish.
They've been okay. So again, Moen Ali, Jonathan Bairstow, Josh Butler, Sam Curran, and Chris Wokes have been rested. Ben Stokes.
Rested? Oh, rested from what, man?
And Ben Stokes and Jofra Archer have been not deemed to be available. So hence why we've got James Bracey, who is a wicketkeeper batsman.
Norman, I'm awaiting on a phone call, as you know, from Lords. I phoned Lords, DCB, this afternoon, met her. She's a lovely, lovely, lovely girl. I said, can I please have Mr. Silverwood's number? Because I want a case, I'll get it to you, and his Twitter, yep. And can I please have Darren Goff's number? I can't get it, I'm waiting. And what's going to happen, Norman, is this. When you come to Perth, or before you come to Perth, I'm going to take Coffee skydiving. I might even take Silverwood skydiving and say, what the hell? Rested? Spooners? We were on tour in South Africa a long time ago. Rested for what? And Norman, you know I'm going with this. You're going to come skydiving.
I'm not listening. I'm not listening.
No, you are. Skydiving over Rottnest. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Why over Rottnest?
Well, it's either there or you plonk your ass in the bloody dirt here. So you landed in the back of someone's house or Rottnest, which is a beautiful island.
Okay, let me just tell you this. There's I'm just posting about this. So it's quite a bombshell, this whole thing. I mean, it's interesting how we use, and I'll repeat this, it's fairly breaking news, okay? We'll just go through it again. Let me just pull this up. Where is it? So I'll read out the team again, okay? So there's this guy called James Bracey, who is the Gloucestershire wicketkeeper batsman, because of the likes of Bairstow, Josh Butler, all out. He's coming to the squad. I mean, Ben Folkes is still there. He should be the keeper. So looks like this James Bracey's a backup.
Who is our best three top batsmen?
In England?
Yep.
Or England? When you say we, you mean you, not me. You mean we.
Excuse me. You see my trophies behind you if I go that way?
Yeah, I know who you played for. I know who you played for. It's all right. Yeah. I know who you played for. You don't have to keep on telling me. We can all see it. If you don't know, viewers, we have England's gun left arm bowler here.
There's a third person, Norman, who said, Alan, you need to be proud of what you did. I'm like, Mum, I just did my thing.
Okay.
And you know that, Norman. So Mum goes, out. Let's put that there. There's a Pelly albums and Bradman and
So England are resting a whole heap of players. They're resting unbelievable amounts. Bairstow, Butler, Stokes and Archer are both being rested because of, obviously, they've had injuries.
Rest from what?
England, okay, England's, in terms of, I'll repeat the team again one more time. Joe Root, James Anderson, James Bracey, who was a wicketkeeper batsman, Stuart Broad, Rory Burns, Zach Crawley, Ben Folkes, Dan Lawrence, Jack Leach, Craig Overton's a bowler, Ollie Pope, a batter, Ollie Robinson, who appears to be a seamer, Dom Sibley, who's in there as well. Then you got Ollie Stone and Murphy. Exactly, they haven't actually selected a leg spinner.
But they're all being rested.
Well, the ones that are being rested.
Make sure you rest up for the summer. Oh my Lord. Make sure you rest up for the
COVID. Somerset all round. Craig Overton's been, he's been also brought back in, and so multi-format players like Moen Ali, Bairstow, Butler, Sam Curran, and Chris Wokes are there. Now, Sam Curran and Chris Wokes have been big losses, and so was Moen Ali, Butler, and Bairstow. They've got quite a few.
Sam Curran, please.
Well, Tom Curran's not mentioned. He's not mentioned there.
Average.
I hope somewhere in New Zealand rest Bolt and Williamson for the World Championship and let them play anything else.
We need 2 strike bowlers and 3 batsmen.
Yeah, well,
Boys, we're done.
It'll be interesting to see who's in the New Zealand side because they may rest Bolt, they may rest some of those players, they may, but England have rested a whole. England have rested a whole host of players.
We're going to rest. We're going to rest. Really? We're going to rest. Rest from what? You've done nothing for the past year. You're there to entertain. That's your job. Play cricket, entertain, with a smile.
So we've been waiting a long time for this match. You're right. Champion X. What we got? Right. No wrist spinner in India is good. Is good enough to be selected. Okay. Bolt might not play against England. That's true. He may not play. Ask Alan, who's your X factor for England in India versus England? Mine is Sam Curran. Do you have an X factor?
X factor, me or you?
Yeah, well, I'd be a. Actually, hang on.
You know,
I couldn't be an X factor. I'd be a triple X factor or a 5 X factor. That's in terms of size.
That's my chicken leap.
Everyone's calling you Spider. So the reality is that.
Hello.
I mean, Ben Stokes will probably come into play again. I think Ben Stokes will be an X factor.
We need someone to step up. We've got the pay. We've got Joe Root. We've got Ben Stokes. I don't think Broad or Anderson. Please give me the ball. I've got a ball here. I've got to go. In fact, I've got a ball here. I'm good to go. In swinger. Out swinger. I don't think.
Where's the ball? Okay, show us again how you hold that ball. Where's the shot? Which is the shiny side?
There.
Okay, so show me where that. Okay, so when you're bowling an in swinger, where does the shiny side go? When does the shiny side go?
Actually, that's a rough side. Sorry. And this was taught to me by Wazim Akram, right? That's a rough side.
Yep.
Shiny side.
So when you're bowling swing, explain to the viewers where do you hold the ball, and
so I'm left-handed. So there you go, right there, whatever. If you want to be a seam bowler, you hold it there, right, with your wrist dead straight. Okay, it won't swing. It might deviate. Right, that's Glenn McGrath. If you're Wazim Akram or myself, if you go onto Google, you'll find I did swing the other ball. That's the in swinger.
Where's the shiny side?
There.
Right.
There. That's it. Oh, sorry. There. That's the shiny side. Rough side.
So the rough side is the direction where the ball's going.
Yep. That's the rough side there.
So when you're holding the ball, the rough side's on the side that you're going towards.
The right side for the in swinger. Right.
Yep.
So
Okay.
You slightly turn the seam, and then what you do is you lock your wrist. So it's all good. It's all good. You can't do that. That won't make the ball swing. You lock your wrist. That makes the ball swing. You can make it talk. It's like turning a door handle, but gently. Let's see then. In swinger. Do you turn it around that way? Right hand batsman. Thumb on the seam or there. It's up to you. I normally
where's the shiny side?
About there. Rough side there.
The rough side on the outside, and the rough because the rough side has more turbulence or more resistance to the wind. Correct?
Yep. So to a right hand batter, like that. So I'm left handed. To a right hand batter, I'd lock my wrist.
Right. So with the 3 types of ball.
Now for a slow ball.
No. I'm talking about the Kookaburra, the Duke, and the SG ball. Duke ball swings ball. We know that.
That's a Duke.
That's a Duke. So
I can make this thing talk. I can make this thing play music.
Right. A kookaburra is a lot less of a swing ball, correct?
You've got about 12 overs to do something.
Right.
Then it comes down to line, length, and discipline, and patience.
And what about the SG ball?
And pace.
Indian
I
ball.
don't know. I've never used one. I'd love to use one.
I
Never
thought the
used
SG ball was closer to a kookaburra than it is a Duke ball. I've heard, but
So, and in terms of a slow ball, so if I'm bowling to a left-hand batsman like Ganguly, right? I got him out with a slow ball. He's left-handed, right, Norman?
Yep.
I go there, right? A lot of guys have these tricky things in malarkey. Bob Simpson, former training coach, said, Ali, you've got one of the best slower balls ever. I was 16. That's a long time ago. And all I did, left-hand batsman, there, just you get your wrist behind the ball for a fast one, outswinger, right? At the last moment, just flick your wrist and relax your hand. It's all a feel thing. That's a lefty, right? So it goes that way, right? So he slogs that way, the ball goes up in the air. Now to a right-hander, you hold it that way. Just go that way. Just relax your wrist on a length and just play with it. For you guys in India, just flick your wrist. Like there, and flick your wrist. But for all that to happen, Norman, you've got to be strong here. Strong here.
right.
Because that controls everything.
Excellent.
Now,
Excellent.
does that fascinate you?
Very interesting.
Now, for a Yorker, do you want to
What
know how
about
to roll
it?
a Yorker? Aim halfway up the stumps.
What? Tell me, explain it.
So if I'm going to bowl a Yorker to... Okay, first things first. In the heat of battle, right? 90,000 people. Been there, done that. MCG, right? Oh, my Lord. They need 6 runs and over, 8 runs and over. I've got to go for like 2 runs and over. Yorker, right? There's a certain person who taught me where you aim out halfway up the stumps. Guess who taught me that? I spoke to him last week.
Who told you that?
Oh, just some guy called Dennis Lilly. Yeah, I'm bragging now. He could bowl a bit.
I mean, you can't get a better bowler than Who's the best bowler in the world that you think ever?
Malcolm Marshall and Wes Macram by a country mile.
What was so special about Malcolm Marshall?
5'10", rapid, great brain, swung the ball, great memory. He had the lot. He had the pace, the swing, the accuracy, the brain, the lot. He was the ultimate. Like here in Australia, oh, Dennis Lee, best fast bowler of all time. No, Malcolm Marshall by a country mile. Pace, swing, accuracy. And also, bear in mind, he played 10 years like county cricket for Hampshire. That's got kind of a bit of a wear and tear on the old body.
Unfortunately, he passed away fairly young.
Yeah,
Didn't
I
he?
know. And Norman, that's another story. I don't want to go into that story because that broke my heart.
Yeah, it was pretty sad.
No, it broke my heart.
But I mean, look, but don't you rate? What about Andy Roberts, Michael Holding?
You were talking about the greatest.
Okay.
They're all great. They're all brilliant. The greatest. Wes Macram, Malcolm Marshall, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, wasn't Bancroft?
Only because I played so many years of county cricket, right? And the wear and tear on the body, it's hard slog. And those guys did it and then played for their country and for their state or their island.
So hang on. So Malcolm Marshall and Michael Holding. What makes Malcolm Marshall better than Michael Holding? As an example, that's one of the questions we've got here.
Yep. You know what? It's hard to answer. Michael Holding was brilliant.
He was.
But Malcolm Marshall redefined how you can be a fast bowler. He's 5'10". Most fast bowlers, I mean, 6'4", 6'3", long arms, long levers. Wasim, 6'3", big shoulders. Wacker, 6'1". Malcolm Marshall, 5'10".
Yeah, that
He
doesn't.
was just, but he was just a genius.
There was a player that played for Tasmania called, I'm not sure whether you know him, Michael Moore. Okay. He was only 5 foot, my God, 8 or something. He was a short little runty guy. I had to wicket keep against him when he was playing in Sydney. Out of nothing, he used to bowl this incredible pace and very accurate. I was keeping, I never had to touch the ball. He always bowled middle and off stump. And he was only 5'8", very, very short. But he was able to get the ball, not unlike what you described. He didn't play for Australia, but he was one of the most incredible little bowlers I've ever seen, who used what was relatively short height to get a lot of accuracy and bounce. It's quite incredible, actually.
Yeah. There's a guy called Vaughan Walsh from Antigua back in the day. He was rapid. Absolutely rapid, about 5'10".
Vaughan who?
Vaughan Walsh from Antigua. Different world there. Different world. We'll go there. You can meet some of my friends.
Well, Antigua, you and I are going to Antigua. We're going to meet up with Merv and Viv and Kirtley and Richie Richardson. We'll go to Jolly Beach.
Yes, we will. Jimmy Adams and Jamaica.
Jimmy Adams. Although Jimmy Adams is not a native born Antiguan. He actually came from Jamaica.
He's a Jamaican from Antigua Bay. His parents were doctors. He's a good friend of mine.
Why did he go from Jamaica to Antigua?
He never. Adams, he's a Jamaican.
Jimmy Adams is not a native Antiguan, I'm pretty sure.
No, Jimmy Adams is a Jamaican from Jamaica, from Antigua Bay.
So why is he in Antigua? My question again, why is he in Antigua?
Huh?
Why was he in Antigua?
He's there coaching, man. He wants to jump on board with what we're doing, man. He wants to get some videos so we can do a YouTube channel, man, where they subscribe to our viewers, our listeners, man. In good time, man.
Antigua, Jamaica and, say, Barbados are meant to be the places to be, but I would argue it's Antigua every time.
And by the way, Norman, I've got a bone to pick with you. I gave you 2 numbers for our Indian viewers. Sachin Tendulkar's mobile.
Yeah, I'm not ringing.
Cooley's mobile. Are you sure to phone them, or do you want me to phone them to jump on board? I'm not sure.
I'm going to deal with it when I'm ready. Not yet.
Are you going shy?
Who's your favourite fast bowler currently, Alan?
My favourite fast bowler currently? I'll tell you who he is, and I think I'd love to shake his hand. Jasprit Bumrah. I love that guy. I don't care about Cummins and all that lot. I love that guy. I think he's fantastic.
He is certainly. He got married. I think he's got a bit wayward for a few months. Okay, here we are. A whole heap of players.
He's making children, making babies. That's life. You know, the thing, we're not robots, you know. We do have a life.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like Coley, being a father, they do have a life. We have a life.
Good on them.
But Jasprit Bumrah is my hero. I think he's brilliant. And before that, Malinga.
Who?
Sri Lanka. Malinga. Mal Malinga.
Mal Malinga, Lassie Malinga.
Oh, yeah, Mal Malinga's a rugby player, for those who aren't paying attention.
Where did you get Mal Malinga from?
He's a rugby player.
Mal Malinga, he played centre for bloody Canberra Raiders. He had nothing to do with cricket. Just to make sure our viewers are clear, Mal Malinga did not play cricket that I heard.
That surprised you? No, he didn't play. He played rugby.
Not Mal Malinga, Lassie Malinga.
That's the one, yeah. Mal Malinga, Lassie. That's the same one. Right arm. Did I dick with the old Yorker?
Danny Morrison was a good bowler, but Danny Morrison was not a top quality. He wasn't the best bowler. Duncan Spencer, what was his story? I don't know.
Duncan's a good friend of mine.
Is he?
Played for played for Kent. Vince said he was the quickest he ever faced. That's rubbish. You know why? Because I was quicker in 1990. Vin was old. He was 40. But no, Spencer's a lovely, lovely man. Lives south of the river here, but
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop. Yeah.
I mean, Jeff Thompson? Is he the fastest bowler you've ever seen or heard of?
Nah, please.
What?
It's like that thing I sent to you on Facebook. Ray Illingworth, in my day, Spider, in my day. Now, I'm going to tell a story for our listeners, right, in India. Just listen carefully. I'm making my Test debut the next day in Birmingham, Edgbaston. So we have to have a dinner. The old blazer, tie. We don't really want to be there. Me, Goffey, Stewart, Elam, so I have to sit next to the chairman of selectors because I'm making my debut. That's what it's like. It's like being a 12-year-old child. I'm like, why am I here? Anyway, in my day, he goes, he's nudging me like Illingworth. In my day, they could bowl. Freddie, he could bowl. He's a right fast bowler. Freddie. Howard Loward, he could bowl. Oh my look!
Howard Loward.
In my day, they could bowl. Freddie, he'd have 10 pints of bitter and a curry, and he could bowl 90 miles an hour. Not like the fast bowlers these days. I'm making my Test debut the next day. Thank you, Ray. Think about it.
There's nothing more annoying than someone. There's nothing more annoying than someone saying "in my day."
Yeah, Norman. Before I sign off, because Mum's in bed, I will say one thing. In my day, we were good. We were really, really good. The best in the world. You know what? Today, they're bloody brilliant. They're fielding, they're batting, the shots, the courage, the scoop shot against a fast bowler, the whole lot. I think they're absolutely magnificent. And I love watching it. So in my day, we had fun. But these guys, gee whiz, they are brilliant. The Joe Root, scoop, Butler, over the head. Ben Stokes. I just wish that I'm not going to let a little cat out of the bag here, but I might be doing some work with the England bowling team when they come to Australia with Spooners. The Australian bowlers, Cummings and that lot, more Yorkers, more bouncers, more swing, lock your wrist like I taught you right there. So it's easier to do that, right? Hang on, I'll get the ball. It's easy to bowl a ball, Norman, like that, right? Hold the ball. Yeah, that's easy. Turn it that way. I'll try and do it right-handed. Right? That's easy. Lock your wrist. Out swinging. In swinging.
Who taught you how to bowl?
Where's Macram?
Where's Macram? My God. What a great
On
person for you to learn
balcony
from.
at Leicester in 1996.
Amazing. Have you spoken to him?
How was it like to bowl to Sachin Tendulkar?
Yeah.
And Ronald Dravid said, I was the hardest bowler he ever faced. Sachin, what was it like to bowl to him? If I'm honest. From the other end.
You couldn't get him out.
I did get him out once, but he's just a genius. It annoys me when I have had a word when Shane Warne goes, Kohli is better than Sachin. No. He's a nice player, a good player. I could get Kohli out. He plays a bit loose. Just put pressure on him. Easy. Sachin, different ballgame. That boy is a genius. I think Sachin and Viv are the best ever. And Lara. Viv, Sachin, Lara. That's it. The rest of you, good luck. You're nice players, you're great players, but you ain't no Lara, you ain't no Viv, and you ain't no Sachin.
I would argue I would argue Viv Richards was the most intimidating of all those players. You felt most fearful. You felt like as a bowler you're in danger of being hit by Viv because he hit the ball so damn
I
hard.
bowled to him when I was bowling quick. He was nicking it and all sorts when he played with Glamorgan.
Do you think the problem
Now, that's another story, Norman, which we saved for our YouTube channel.
Right,
Me bowling to Viv with his poster on my bedroom wall in Perth in 1990. Now, that's something for the YouTube channel. We can't give it all away.
No, we can't. But we should get Viv.
We can't tell the Indian viewers who Sachin found to be the hardest bowler to face.
Who's the hardest?
It wasn't Wacker, and we can't give it away. And why did Shane Warne run away from bowling to Sachin in 2005-4 at the Oval?
Why?
We can't give it away. It's going to go to our YouTube channel.
Okay. So, what about Ponting and Inzamam al-Haq? Ponting was a very good player. Great player, square of the wicket, certainly.
Do you know, he admits it. He never played a square cut in his life. Of course, I got him out. But he, no, brilliant. And, it's funny you say about Inzamam al-Haq. I think we spoke about this early off record. Him and Graham Hick, when you're a fast bowler, right? And yeah, I was bowling 90 miles an hour. Great. There's guys, these bowls and go, gee whiz, they've just got so much time. I'm busting a belly here to bowl really fast. Graham Hick and Inzamam al-Haq. Right, I'll have a cup of coffee and I'll go for it. Yeah. You all right? Make a phone call. Oh, by the way, I've got to play the ball. He had so much time.
Yeah, Inzamam al-Haq always looked lazy, but he hit the ball beautifully.
Just a beautiful player.
He really was. He had a great.
And he's a pleasure to watch. He's just a beautiful player.
That's the key to what you've said. Players that I would love to watch bat. Viv Richards is number one by 100 miles. Inzamam al-Haq's number two for me. In terms of, Tendulkar and all these players are great players, but in terms of aesthetic beauty to watch play, Richards and Inzamam al-Haq are my two favourites. I love both of them. I thought they were magnificent. And Greg Chappell.
For me, Viv and B.C. Lara, Brian Charles Lara. And you saw that photo with him in the lounge room here many moons ago?
Well, he spent your place, I know.
Yeah. Don't get jealous.
I'm jealous.
Well,
I've spent time with Brian Lara at Lord's and recently in Sydney at the SCG and MCG. I've spent time with him there, but that was just in a group with everybody else, not privately like you've had. Yes, but don't forget you
never lived. I played. Oh, where was it? Lord's. We won a one-day game thing, right? Final, England, West Indies, beautiful. I think it was the West Indies. Anyway, my brother came over from Perth, Neil, right? Champion. So there's a pub outside, and we're there, and I'm like, meant to be going to this nightclub because we've won with Nasser Hussain, and it's all fancy, called 10 Rooms. As I found out, my mate owns it, who wrote the score, the music for The Lion King. Anyway, didn't quite make it because I was on the phone. I said, Neil, do you want to speak to Viv? He goes, oh, yeah, okay, I'd love to. Well, he's next to me. I goes, oh, Sir Vivian, Neil, it's Viv. Viv is my brother. And I said, Viv, what would you do facing Warnie? I wouldn't play for a draw, man. I'd play some shots. I said, dun, 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 on the phone, dun, Warnie, here you go, buddy, it's Al. Here you go, mate. I've got this bloke next to me called Viv. Sir Viv, can you please speak to him? He said he'd knock you to next week. Yeah, on the phone. My brother sat there in awe. It's like, here's my brother playing cricket for his country with his hero called Viv, who's a friend, on the phone to Shane Warne, who's a legend in Melbourne, talking about how Viv would face Warney. And Viv goes, yeah, Shane, man, Shane. Yeah, I'd play some shots, man. I'd play some shots. My brother goes, Alan, it's unbelievable. Dare I say, we didn't quite make it.
That's amazing story. It's amazing.
We didn't quite make it to the amazing. We didn't quite make it to the nightclub that night because you meant to have your name on the door. And I said, excuse me, my name's Alan. Bloody. Oh, yep. Stunning lady. I said, this is my brother, Neil. Well, his name's not on there. Well, if his name's not on there, he can't get in? Nope, me neither. Bye. We went off.
I mean, okay. So you've just talked about some great players there. Who did Viv Richards fear the most? Do you know?
I would say no one, but if there was someone, I don't know. Ezra Mosley?
I mean, Lillian Thompson certainly gave them some curry. There was some times when they pretty much, they gave him some curry.
And going back to what we're doing now, Norman, Lily, you got his number. You spoke to him. And Steve Waugh. I'll get Tomo's. Because I think with this, what we're going to do is change this platform from StreamYard onto YouTube, their YouTube channel. And then we're going to get guys to give their opinions, and it's going to be amazing.
Oh, look, I mean, to have them talking to you will be. I'm just trying to tag you in this. Where's your name's not coming up? How come your name doesn't come up on social media?
Oh, on Facebook?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, Norm, I've got to go.
Oh, do you now?
Yeah.
What do you got? Another appointment or something?
Yeah, I've got things to do, man.
What are you're going to practice skydiving now, eh?
Geronimo!
Now, hang on.
You are going to come to Perth and skydive with me.
Oh, look, I tell you,
have you got
an extra?
Cool.
You
ready?
But you're going to need a damn. You're going to need a damn.
What's your
what I call it?
Mask off. I'm Alan.
Have you done it yet? Have you done skydiving?
I've done bungee jumping. I can fly a helicopter.
Hang on. The way you're carrying on there, it looks like you've done it before. You've never done it before, have you?
It's easy. You just jump out and pull the string.
Yeah, but I mean, what do they call it? A parachute.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Pull.
What happens? What happens when I jump, and I'm so bloody overweight that I go down twice as fast as you, and I've got no time to put the parachute on. You've heard about. You've heard about a lead balloon. How much lead balloons go down pretty quickly?
Oh no, that's easy. Just pull the string. Okay, Norman. Like tap, pull there. Oh,
there'll be a massive crater. There'll be a massive meteor. It'll be like a meteorite crater when I do.
Watch out for that great white shark, Norman. Oh, we better land. Oh, pull up, please. Job done. Easy.
Just quickly before we go, Aravinda De Silva.
Call behind, Lords, opening game, 1999. Thank you, putting me up. And
good player, though.
Was commentating. It was a loose shot. Well, actually, it's quite a quick ball.
He's a good player, isn't he?
Well, yeah. His nickname when he played for Kent was Harry. And he is, you know what I love, Norman, about these guys, like Aravinda, Jaminda Vass, Sachin, Viv. Just, for me, more importantly, they're just such nice guys. That to me is more important. They're just lovely, lovely people.
Yeah, they were. They are. That's important. I mean, to play cricket but have people against you and not lovely people is a bit of a worry, isn't it?
Mm. No, they're just lovely, lovely people. That's what I love, and meeting people, and that's why I can't wait to get the YouTube thing and Obviously,
We're going to do it. We're going to do it.
with this
It's
COVID
called.
stuff.
It's going to be called
Can't wait for us to
Normally.
go to the Punjab
Normally,
region of
everyone.
India.
Listen, guys, it's Normally. Okay, it's NOR capital MALLEY. We've got Malali, Ali. So Normally. The Ali is Malali. Huh?
I can't wait to go to India and have some adventure.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yep.
To the Punjab region. Amritsar, Ludhiana, Jalandhar.
Funny stuff. Anyway, Norm, I've got to go.
All right.
And I'll speak to you tomorrow.
You take care. All right, Alan, I'll let you go. We'll talk soon.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao. He hasn't gone yet. He's still there. All right, everyone. Alan, you haven't probably locked off.
Hang on.
So, yeah, the Normally YouTube channel will be coming up soon enough. And that was good to have. Look who just popped in. Just happened to be a former England opening bowler, Alan Mullally, has just popped in for a little bit of time. I could see if I can get someone else, but it's a bit late now. So we need to. Damien Martin smashed 90 odd in a World Cup 2003 final with a broken finger. That was the greatest cricket innings ever for me. Well, Damien Martin was not a bad player. I've had the fortune or misfortune to be stuck in a lift with Damien Martin and Michael Vaughan and Jonathan Norman and a few staff at Lords in the JP Morgan Media Centre lifts, which looked like igloos going down. We were stuck there for an hour and a half, and then I went on the BBC the next few days with Tough as in War, which is Tufnell and Michael want to talk about that. So I've had my time in a lift with Damien Martin quite a lengthy period of time. It was quite an experience. Shane Ward smashed by Fairwell. I'm not surprised. This sandpit like that. Okay, at this stage, there doesn't appear to be any World Test Championship crowd there at this point. There'll be people going to watch the matches at Lords for England versus New Zealand coming up in a few weeks' time, but not at this point for the ICC World Test Championship in Southampton, the Rose Bowl, the AGS Bowl, where the Shane Warne stand is. No, that's at this point not planned, but we just don't know. That could change. Why does Brad Hodge get limited chances? He played for other country. He would have. One of his first things he scored double century, as we all know. I don't know. His timing was pretty off in terms of when he was selected. Yeah, I don't know what went on there. Really, there's no real proof to say what happened there. It was quite an unusual situation, to say the least. I must say. So I can't answer that question. So let me look here. So we need to be able to. So I'm trying to get someone else to come along. Doesn't look like it keeps throwing me out here. All right, wait a sec, guys. Trying to fix the computer here. All right. So very bad forecast for the final. Yeah, I've heard that too. Ray, would you stop telling me to bring people on? Keshav, he may be free. Well, he's not here. That's the way. What happened if there is rain during the final World Cup? We get a result. I think that's been talked about quite extensively. What happens in that situation is it's a draw. It's a shared trophy, which I really get annoyed about. I find that incredibly wrong. In my opinion, that should not be the case. It should be a count back. The team to finish first should be the team that gets it. Simple. You got to have a winner. A World Test Championship not have a winner doesn't make any sense. So at this point, it's actually shared, but it really should be, and it should be actually India. I think they finished above New Zealand, so it should be India. So I don't think there's going to be, unless it's washed out, I don't think it's going to be a non-result. I think that there'll be 20 wickets taken by both sides, and the bowling will be the more dominant force, and the batters will struggle. A toss always makes a difference because of the conditions. I think that normally you would say the team wins the toss will bat, but I actually think the team that wins the toss will actually bowl, especially if it's New Zealand, because they've got a force of bowling attack there that basically tells me that they would want to do that. So I would say that New Zealand will win the toss. If they win the toss, they'll bowl, and they'll get India in a bit of trouble, and it could be quite a difficult match. Let's hope not, but it may well be that's the case. So. Okay. The question about South Africa is a long one. They've got a very, I hate to use the word corrupt, but a very indifferent board. They've made some pretty big mistakes. So Graham Smith is an incredible person. His position is pretty important. I think that Graham Smith, I don't know who Graham Smith reports to as a board, other than him in his role. But Graham Smith is a great person, did very well for South Africa, has everything well intended. But if they've got some overriding governmental influence, which appears to be the case, which is there corruption there? There certainly must be. There's corruption in Sri Lankan cricket. There's corruption in South African cricket. Elements of it in India in the past before Ganguly was certainly there. We all know what happened there. ICC, a little bit. Australia's just a bunch of arrogant, or has been a bunch of arrogant people. They're now in a pretty good situation to clean out a fair few of the problem people, and they've got Tim Whitaker was certainly one of them, the media manager from Australian cricket. I won't go there. I'm not going to talk about what happened to him, but he knows. Tim Whitaker knows exactly what happened to him. Maybe he's got the guts to tell people. No, I don't think he has. I think he's disappeared. And a lot to be said about that person, so I won't say any more. But I think the answer to that one's a bit of an interesting one. What actually happened to Tim Whitaker? Maybe someone can tell me. Hockley is a magnificent leader, a great CEO of Cricket Australia. He should get it. He's been an amazing person. A lot of time for him. He did a great job during the Women's World Cup, and he's a great leader. Cricket Australia are in great hands because of Hockley. There's no doubt about that at all. And they've got a great structure now in place comparatively, absolutely. Alex Brown is a great head of communications. I like him a lot. And obviously Hockley, good people, very good people. They've done well now. They've got their act together quite a bit now. I'm pretty impressed with the way they're doing things. Justin Langer is certainly a good coach too. Maybe a bit too hard on the players sometimes, but expects too much out of them. He wants to win. He's a heart of gold. This is actually a good question. Should a cricket board chairman be an ex-cricketer or a non-cricketer? What are your thoughts on this? This is a really, really good question. It goes both ways, doesn't it? A cricketer that's got a lot of nous and a lot of panache and ability, such as Sourav Ganguly, makes it well and truly worthwhile being a cricketer and administrator. There are certain cricket administrators that were cricketers that haven't done well because they're not good administrators. It's got nothing to do with their cricketing ability. The cricketing knowledge is very important. I mean, I would argue John Bradman was a pretty good administrator, but a lot of people didn't think he was. Sutherland in Australia, well, I think he went far too long. I won't go down that track, but in the case of a lot of them, a cricketer would generally be seen as a good reason to be there. Of course, an experienced captain or coach or administrator combined with those skills is very useful. I think it's generally a better thing to have a cricketer than a non-cricketer, but it all comes down to administration and their board-related panache. And the best example there is someone like Sourav Ganguly. Brilliant orator, brilliant statesman, organizer, leader, and a great player. Great choice, good as Ganguly. Yeah, but generally I would say cricketer, if they can, cricketer certainly will give them a big tick, but being a good administrator will give them a double tick. Love my 11 cap. That's the SCG Sydney Cricket Ground 11. That's the team that I played for. I played the most games for, actually, too. Lehman versus Langer. Who you reckon as a good coach, excluding sandpaper debacle? Yeah, that certainly did mire things a bit. Unfortunately, it's tainted Lehman's. He was a great player, manager, people person. He was well liked. He smoked a fair bit, though. He was with the boys. He knew how to, make them relax and joke and have good fun. Langer's more of a tactician and more of a disciplinarian. Both have positives and both have negatives, really. Both, Lehman probably had a better run so far, but Langer's had a pretty hard wicket. He's had a lot of player issues, not necessarily his fault, of course, lingering beyond that point. But yeah. Lehman was certainly not more aggressive at all. Lehman more aggressive? No. Darren Lehman was not more aggressive by any means. Just Langer probably would be more aggressive. And that's not a negative, it's just difference in style. Yeah, so Alan Mullally's messaging me. He said he was too busy. Now he's saying he's in the case of Perth is a couple of hours behind Australia, getting close to India actually in terms of its time. Okay, this is another very good question. Is coaching necessary at international level? You'd argue that they're more man managers, player managers than actual coaches, but they might just tell the player to relax, to go away and have a break, see them stressed and consider whether they should be selected or not. Coaches in England in particular are becoming more the selectors actually too, which is interesting. So I would argue that it's less. In fact, they didn't have coaches up until a certain point at all. If you talk to somebody like Shane Warne, he doesn't believe coaches are there at all. But they have a role, probably more man management, maybe some technical issues, but generally man management. I want England to whitewash New Zealand in the tests for the Kiwis to start having some doubts in their mind conditions. That's a fair point. But that's going to be sort of New Zealand's advantage, not disadvantage, I can assure you. For the past 10 years, I saw commenters that are not on that level, like Richie Benaud, Tony Greig, Tony Kozier, Chappelli. So, yeah, that's absolutely true. Bit hard to follow Richie Benaud, Tony Greig, Tony Kozier, Ian Chappell in particular. Even Jeff Thompson was a very good commentator. People don't give him credit. He was even what's his name? David Hooks was also pretty good. Nowadays, Jimmy Maxwell's one of the best up on radio. He's done several hundred tests. He's brilliant, very calm and composed up there. Except for, Harsha Bogle generally is pretty good. I don't rate most of the others, to be honest. And I particularly hate certain people, I won't mention them, who forget that the bloke's about to come in the bowl and continue to give us stats and figures as the bowler's in to bowl and has delivered the ball. And they're going, oh, yeah, this batsman's got 5 wickets. I don't care. I want to watch the game. Don't overstate yourself. Don't keep talking. When the bowler comes to the bowl, you shut up. You say as little as possible. Richie Benaud said shot, marvellous. He didn't talk. You don't have to be. You don't see. You didn't see Tony Gregg, Ian Chappell, even Cozy to an extent. Certainly not Richard. Overstate the statistics. Some of the female commoners, which I won't mention, and the male commoners, they have an array of stats that they come up with. We don't need to know every single stat. That comes up in your own observations, and most people know them. Occasionally, they can be useful, but don't overstate stats. Yeah, people who are not natural talkers in front of a camera about a game of cricket are those that come out with rote learnt information and try to go. And in 1974, Bob Smith scored 974 runs and an average of 49.3 recurring. That's too much. We don't need to hear all that. It doesn't help us when we're watching a person play shots. You can talk about how well they hit the ball, the timing, their shot selections, baby. That's what you need to talk about. I agree. David Lloyd is amazing. Lovely anecdotal stuff. I love him. And here's with Tony Gregg. Yep. He made a dead match alive. Yeah, he was. They were Bill Laurie and Tony Gregg and Richie Benno and even Keith Stackpole was very good. Mark Taylor, oh, not great. Michael Slater needs to. We know about this whole situation of the Maldives and him. I don't want to go there because I was pretty disgusted with his efforts. Now, Ian Bishop, I like. I think a lot of him. That's not to say Mike Atherton aren't bad. Ian Smith's very good. Mark Nicholas, I'm not a fan of at all. Sorry. Harsh Bogley, he's pretty good. Bumble is certainly good. Keshav is here. Oh, Keshav is now commentating. I didn't realise who was doing that. Is that a hint that he wants to come on? He's obviously around. Ray, who are you, Ray? You keep on telling me. What a heartbreaker, true. Yeah, okay, I'd agree. Are you hinting, Keshav? Are you hinting because you're there? Is that what you're saying you want to be on? I thought you'd be busy with your channel. Make a comment, Keshav, if you want to be on or not. I'll need to know. Okay, who is Ray PMB9? Who the hell are you? Tell me your real name. I hate these names that don't exist. Unless your name is Ray PMB9. I don't think it is. What is your real name? Tell us your real name. Keshav, do you want to come on? Is that what you're telling me? You haven't told me. Keshav wants me to send him a link. I don't know. I just don't know whether Keshav wants me to. He's not saying anything. I'm sending Keshav a link. Let's see if he joins. That's your Google account. Then put your name. Okay, is this his mate? Okay, so Ray, then right on there your yeah, okay. All right. Just trying to find out a few things, folks. Give me a second. No, it was nice to have Alan Mullally here. It was very nice to have him on. I don't know whether we need to bring anyone else on. Okay, Anderson, Mark Howard, no. He's a talker, but he's not doesn't know enough about cricket. David Fleming, I'm not a fan of his for some reason. I just something. They've got nice voices, yeah. But Mark Howard, he's a generalist, host of general stuff. I don't know with the good cricket holder. Damien Fleming, he can be quite annoying on occasion, to be honest, as well. So, yeah. The best to me, who I would like to listen to now is Jim Maxwell. Magnificent. He knows exactly how much to say, when to say. Now, when a bowler comes in the bowl, you shut the hell up. You do not talk. As he's coming in the bowl, go, no, stat 34 for the year, the percentage. Shut up. Let me watch the bloke bowl. And if he hits the ball well, you say the word shot. Well played. That's what I would suggest. I like your subtle hints there.
How are you, Norman?
Good, Keshav. Who is it? Ray PMB9 and Ashwani Rana. Are they your mates, or what's going on here?
I only know Ashwani. I don't know the other one.
All right. Well, Ray PMB9. The whole hour he's been going, where's Alan Mullally? I got Alan Mullally. Where's Keshav? Where's this person? I don't know where everybody is. I'm not their bloody mother, for God's sake. No. How have you been? Another hairstyle.
I'm fine. Actually, yesterday there was a cyclone in Mumbai, which was like the worst cyclone. Yeah, the worst cyclone in 80 years of history. So it was really tough.
What happened? Buildings damaged or?
Yes, there's been damage. I think 6-7 people have died. A lot of people had to be evacuated from their houses near the seashore. And even my room had a lot of water inside, blocked inside. The rain was so heavy, and the winds were crazy, like 120, 130 kilometers an hour, that kind of wind.
So Ashwani's getting upset. He says that I've forgotten him. Oh, God. I haven't forgotten him. Okay. Just a quick question. I've already talked about this, but I'll repeat it. The Cameron Bancroft saga. And isn't it an absolute piece of garbage? This whole stupidity of discussion. What on earth are we talking about this 3 years later for? It's irrelevant. I think just leave it in the past now. I'm talking. The people who are talking about it are Australians.
Why? Yeah, I think I don't know why he's doing it, to be in the limelight once again. To be in the headlines, because there's no use of taking out the dead bodies. I mean, what's done is done. You don't really want to go back in time and touch a sensitive subject like that, which was probably the worst scandal in Australian cricket history in a long time. So why to demean anything or anyone once again? Well, be in the headlines for good reasons.
He's an absolute idiot, to be honest with you. First of all, for doing what he did was an idiotic thing to do. What person? I don't care whether Steve Smith, Day Warner told him, he didn't have to do it. Okay, and that's one thing. But the bowlers, I have a lot of respect for Cummins, Hazelwood, Stark, and Lyon. They're all New South Welshmen now, and they all have a strength and character. They're great friends, and they wouldn't stuff around with us. And they immediately came out with a comment we didn't know. They may have noticed the ball had changed, but they had no involvement with his damage. Leave it at that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, bringing the bowlers into the conversation now, Stark, Hazelwood, and Cummins. I mean, even Flintoff had something to say about it. So it's kind of like, since there's no cricket going on right now on the field, people are trying different things to to be the talk of the town.
Well, you should see the Australian media contingent. I mean, Jeff Lemon is a good mate of mine. He went to town, and I love the way he did that. It is idiotic. It's embarrassing. And if I were in charge of Cricket Australia, and Nick Hockley's a great guy, I like Nick, I'd be getting those guys together and saying, shut the hell up. Because it's very bad all round. It just brings back a topic that I want to hear about. After what happened with Dave Warner recently with our discussions with the efforts in Sunrise Hyderabad, and remember the things he's done there. He's on the nose. He's back in Australia. They're all back in Australia. In the next week or so, less than 2 weeks now, I'll send him on the streets of Coogee again. And I'll be very interested to see what happens. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
another news today which came, AB de Villiers not making a comeback.
I
So
mentioned that.
that's a heartbreak for his fans.
Well, you know what? I don't think he ever had intentions of coming back, to be honest with you. So the fact that, he's going to come back and he's not coming back is heartbreak. Not really. It shouldn't be heartbreak because he was gone some time ago. And you talk about true heartbreak, the South African Cricket Board is where the true heartbreak is, and their government for interfering is where the heartbreak is. They've lost a truckload of players. De Villiers, even the likes of the blokes who have gone to play county cricket, those who have left the country to play overseas, Devon Conway more recently, they've all left for a reason. It's a debacle there. It's horrible circumstances. The quota system, I'm not bringing in race or in colour into the question here, but you can't have a quota system. You've got the best players to play, regardless of who they are. That's madness. And they've just created so much dissension there. Again, it's just, there's so many layers of...
I don't understand. He's still playing for RCB. So the news headline says that it was AB de Villiers' final call that he's not going to come out of retirement. So since he's still playing for RCB and trying to, help them win their first title, and I think if IPL at all happens, it will be on either side of World Cup, right? Either before or after the resumption. So if he can help RCB win their first title, why cannot he help South Africa win their first title? I mean, it's absurd.
Well, let's be honest. South Africa are not going to win any titles. they got no hope in hell. AB de Villiers, they could have 5 AB de Villiers at the moment. They're still going to lose. They've got all sorts of problems. But look, he's made a decision on his career. He's made a decision. He's free to play in all the franchises where, let's be quite honest, he makes a truckload of money. Playing for South Africa, I don't know how much he would get, but it would be pretty paltry. I'm telling you now. It would be
I don't think money would have been an issue. If you saw the squad that South Africa announced today for Ireland and West Indies tour, even Faf du Plessis is not a part of those squads. He's still playing for them. He's not announced retirement from white ball, but he's also not a part of them. So it's clear that they're looking into the future generations.
But hang on, du Plessis definitely no longer playing.
No, he only retired from Test cricket. He was still available for white ball.
Yeah, but I would say South Africa, in all fairness, have probably decided that that's it for him. And I'm not okay. I don't want to go down the track of picking players' names, but it's a mess. They're not being paid well enough. They're not being taken care of. Look what happened with the West Indies with Kieran Pollard, who has come back into the Test situation. West Indies and South Africa are very poorly paid. So are Sri Lanka and Bangladesh and Pakistan. India is one that's not. Australia, we know, is well paid. New Zealand's okay paid. England's well paid. That's the bottom line. Most of these cricket boards have got financial issues and can't afford to pay players well enough or what they deserve. And these people have gone elsewhere. It's as simple as that. But I think AB de Villiers has got a stronger stand, even du Plessis and Umla. They've all got. They're making a stand as to the mess that South African cricket's got. Look at Sri Lanka. They've gone to Bangladesh. They've moved on to having the likes of Kushal Mendes as the captaincy hub with Narosh and Dickwella. They've gone, which is probably a positive move because they were hanging on to Angela Matthews and that a bit long and Dinesh Chandimal a bit long. So that was probably a positive move. But I think you'll find there's a sea of change happening. We'll see change happening. But South Africa are going further down. They lack leadership. Quinton de Kock is not their captain.
No, now they've changed Quinton de Kock, right? They've got Temba Puma in white ball and Dean Elgar in the red.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is he wasn't the answer either. They moved on again. They're gonna be going through a substantial amount of time and pain. I actually think both South Africa and Australian cricket are on the way down. I really do. I think Australian cricket's in a diabolical situation, and we'll see who. Someone just walked past, behind you. Who's that?
Yeah, that was my cook.
Oh, can they cook for me?
But you know how lucky is West Indies? You know, in COVID times, they're getting 3 international sides to tour them, play like 15 T20s in the season. Such good preparation for them for the T20 World Cup. I mean, 15 T20s against good sides. You know, Pakistan is a good T20 side. Australia going there, South Africa, and then they have CPL as well before the World Cup. So I think West Indies, defending champions, they would be so well prepared for the World Cup.
I would agree. It depends whether the World Cup's going to go ahead. It's certainly not going ahead in India. And you mentioned the IPL. There's no hope in hell the IPL is going to be. The postponement will become a cancellation.
But do you think Australia also announced the preliminary squad, right? So do you think Australia can beat West Indies in the 5-match T20 series?
To be honest with you, it's West Indies' best chance of beating Australia in a long time. Because they've got some players which are, you could argue, with some form. Kieran Pollard, my God, if he bats half as well, and it's on home soil. If Holder plays, I'm not sure, is Holder in the side? I think he is. They've got a whole host of players that have just played in the IPL that are all, and even Andre Russell's still floating around. They've got a pretty damn good side. I think they're going to challenge Australia. Australia's going to struggle. And go back for a minute. Did you hear the England squad side that's playing against New Zealand?
Yeah.
They're resting everybody. Butler, Wokes. I don't quite know why they're being rested, to be honest with you, but I don't understand that. And Bairstow.
That's fine. I mean, look, this series is not a part of World Test Championship cycle. They are probably preparing for the bigger series, marquee series against India. So it's okay. I mean, I think Archer and Stokes are anyway injured. And other than that, Butler maybe needed a break. So it's okay. Even if they go with Ben Foakes, I think he's probably the best wicket keeper. If you just see the wicket keeping skills, he's better than Bairstow and Butler. So he should be playing not just in the continent, but in England as well.
Yeah, but I think it's more to do with the fact you're saying this is not as important. Well, it should be. It's against New Zealand that have actually made the World Test Championship. New Zealand arguably are as important as India in terms of...
but there's nothing at stake, right? For New Zealand, it's a preparation for World Test Championship final. But for England, this series is not a part of that cycle. They are not having anything to gain from this series. So it's okay.
Well,
I mean, I would have taken your point if they would have rested Anderson or Broad or Root. But they're playing all those guys. The test specialists are all there.
Okay, fair enough. But I think the other point is that, and I'm disappointed you're saying this, that this is not an important series. Any test match is important. You're playing for your country, for God's sake. I'm not blaming you, but I'm talking generally. A lot of people say, oh, this is not important. Well, that's rubbish. Every test match, you and I would take an arm and a leg to play for our country. So I disagree with it not being important. It's extremely important. It's a test match for your...
Yeah, it is important. That's why I said all the test specialists are there, and I think it'll be nice to see a couple of people getting chances. Like Dan Lawrence was he showed some spark when he toured India. Ollie Stone is there, so these guys who are only in contention for the test matches, I think they'll get a chance in these two test
Oh
matches.
no, but I'm not. I'm just trying to say that Josh Butler and Johnny Bairstow deem themselves to be test players. Don't you worry, okay? And they would prefer to be playing the test match. Don't you worry, okay? And to give Ben Folks a leg up over them, they wouldn't be liking that. So I don't know whether I agree with this resting. They're professional cricketers. If they're going to be
Yeah,
professional, they should
but,
be playing.
I think now when England's setup got changed, so they've parted ways with Ed Smith, and I think Chris Silverwood is accountable for selection as well now. So maybe I think there would have been some sort of dialogue between the people who have been left out and the coach, and it all might be good for them. But anyway, coming back to West Indies, honestly, I think they can win all the three series at home, not just Australia, but against Pakistan and South Africa also across formats.
Oh, there's no doubt. But it's going to be pretty hard to win everything. It's not going to. They're not that perfect aside in terms of their consistency. They'll have their days when they're off. Is Chris Gale in the squad?
Who?
Chris Gale.
They have not announced the squad yet.
I hope he is. I mean, you saw him in the Maldives with champagne and a pizza that cost $200. It was embarrassing. And then Michael Slater comes home saying, "Oh, blood is on our Prime Minister's hands." What? The Maldives was hard for him? Oh, embarrassing. All right. We're coming up to 2 hours, by the way, on this broadcast, by the way. I'm already
Sorry, what?
We've been going for 2 hours almost. So
Yeah. I just saw. So anyway, I have to go as well to upload one of my music podcasts. So I'll take your leave now.
You do
Thank
that.
you for having me on.
All right. Thanks for coming on, Kessel. We'll talk more. I'm going to end it pretty soon too. You take care.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Ciao, ciao, ciao. All right, guys. That was a bit of a little prelude. West Indies are lucky that due to the wonderful chairman, Rick Skerritt, yes, that's true. West Indies are no pushover in Test, yes, that's true. New Zealand's home track didn't win against Sri Lanka and Australia. Well, anyway, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. There'll be enough interest around. I think any matches, I think I've said before, any Test match is important. England playing New Zealand, it's important. Then obviously the World Test Championship is the penultimate next. Okay. All right, guys. We might finish it there at 2 hours on the dot. I think that's long enough. It's now getting a bit long in the tooth. We want to finish up, so let's have a look. Yeah. I think I've been on long enough here, guys. All right, guys. Next time we'll talk more. Ashwini Rana, we'll see how we go. We'll take you on. All right, guys. Thanks for everything, guys. This is Norman Koshnek signing off from Eyes on Cricket with Norman Koshnek. Don't forget there's a community tab that I regularly update information on. There's also if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And then if you wish to go further and be a member, that's also good. And make sure you share which venue is hosting IPL. At this point, it's not going to be India. And it may not be anyone because the IPL may be moved from being postponed to fully cancelled. If it's going to be anywhere, it's going to be UAE, but even that's unlikely. I'd say it's pretty much off the cards now. I think you're going to see the IPL cancelled, not just postponed. That's my idea of that. So, again, thanks for everyone for joining me. Make sure you subscribe, but also share it. You got WhatsApp groups? Well, then share it to your WhatsApp group. Make sure your WhatsApp group actually get the information to move on and send it to others so they can all see it. It's worth sharing, okay, guys? So I'll say goodbye to you now, guys. So take care. thanks to all the people that have been online. We've had quite a few indeed. We've had a lovely time of it. I can't thank you enough. So this is again Norman Koshnik signing off from Eyes on Cricket with Norman. No, you heard me talk about Alan Mullally starting up a channel with me called Norm Alley, as in Mullally Alley, and Norm, obviously my name. So we're going to work that together between the two of us. So all of you, please have a nice time. Take care. Those in India, be careful of the COVID. So good night, guys.